So, morning students. So today we can start with radius and ulna. Okay. So before that you can see this is our upper limb. So upper limb is divided into arm. This one is arm portion, and this is forearm, and this is hand. Okay. So between our shoulder joint and the elbow joint, this portion is known as arm, and between the elbow joint and the wrist joint, this portion is known as forearm. Okay. So our radius and ulna are the bones of forearm. Okay. So forearm, here we can see two bones, one is radius and another is ulna. Okay. And in this diagram you can see this is forearm. So here we can see this is the lateral side and this is the medial side. Okay. And here we can see the laterally there is radius and medially there will be ulna deep to this muscle. Okay. So radius belongs to the lateral side. Here we can see this is our thumb region. So it belongs to the lateral side, and ulna is the medial bone. So this is the radius bone, and as it is a long bone, it also has an upper end, lower end and a shaft. Okay. So we can side determination. So first look at the upper end. So this is the upper end of the radius. Here we can see there is upper end is rounded. Okay. It is rounded, and lower end we can see it is flat. Okay. And the upper end presents a concave surface in the superior. Superiorly there is a concave surface in the upper end of the radius, and below this portion, this rounded portion, this is the head of the radius, and the upper end has a head, neck and a tuberosity. It has a rounded head, neck and a radial tuberosity. Okay. And coming to the lower end, so lower end is somewhat flat, and here we can see anteriorly the lower end presents a thickened ridge. Okay. And posteriorly the lower end has the middle there is a tubercle that is known as Lister's tubercle. You can see this projection. Okay. Posteriorly there is a tubercle. Okay. And the posterior surface, we can see several ridges can be seen. Between the ridges some grooves also can be seen. Okay, so this is the posterior surface, and here we can see this is the anterior surface. So while keeping it in anatomical position, so this is the shaft portion, and shaft has a sharp medial border. Okay. For the radius, the shaft has a sharp medial border. Okay. So while keeping it in anatomical position, first we have to identify the upper end and lower end. Okay. And keep the upper end upward and lower end downward. Okay. And then you see the lower end, identify the anterior surface and the posterior surface. So keep accordingly. Okay. So keep the anterior surface anteriorly and posterior surface posteriorly. Okay. And in the lower end we can see there is a downward projection. This is known as styloid process. Okay. And this styloid process which is coming towards laterally. Okay. Styloid process should come laterally. Okay. So see, so we have to keep it in anatomical position. So this is the upper end upward and lower end downward. Okay. And for the anterior surface, this is the anterior surface and this is the posterior surface. Okay. So like this also we can keep, and like here also we can keep. Okay. Then you see the styloid process. The styloid process should come laterally. Okay, not medially. So if you are keeping like this, it will come medially. Okay. So this should go laterally. So that means it belongs to the left side of. Okay. So this is a left radius. Okay. And you can see there is a sharp border, that is a medial border, that should come medially. Okay. So this sharp border should come medially, and this styloid process should go laterally. Okay. So this is a left radius, left side. Okay. And going to the details, the parts or external features of this bone, here we can see first we see the upper end. Okay. So this is the upper end of the radius, and upper end has a head, a circular head. We can see a circular head, and this head has a concave superior surface which articulates with our humerus. This is the humerus. We already learned about the humerus. This is the capitulum. Okay, capitulum of the humerus. Okay, so this head of the radius, superior surface of the head of the radius articulates with the capitulum to form the elbow joint, like this articulation. Okay. Then this circumference of the head. The circumference of the head that articulates with the ulna. This is the ulna bone, and here we can see there is a notch, this one, notch for the radius. Okay, so it articulates with that notch, and also here there will be a circular annular ligament like this. Okay, there will be an annular ligament, and the head of the radius will occupy inside this annular ligament, and it will rotate like this. Okay, so like this it forms the superior radio-ulnar joint. Okay, the circumference of the head like this articulation. Okay. Okay. Then below the head there is a constructed portion. This portion is known as neck of the radius. Okay, and below the neck of the radius there is a roughened projection that is known as radial tuberosity. Radial tuberosity. Here we can see this one, a roughened portion. So this is the radial tuberosity. Radial tuberosity. Okay, so that is the upper end, and then shaft. So shaft has three borders and three surfaces. So keeping in anatomical position, we can see. So this is the anatomical position of this radius. So while keeping in the anatomical position, here we can see there are three borders and three surfaces for the radius. Okay. So here we can see starting from the radial tuberosity. This is the radial tuberosity. So from the lower part of the radial tuberosity, one line is going obliquely. This one. Okay. Obliquely downward, and then going down towards the styloid process. So this is the anterior border of the radius. So there is an anterior border going towards the styloid process. Okay, so this is the anterior border, and here we can see the upper part of the anterior border, it is oblique, going oblique. So this portion is known as anterior oblique line. Anterior border, the upper part it is obliquely placed. So this portion of the anterior border is known as anterior oblique line. Okay, then it going downwards, straight downwards towards our styloid process. So this is the anterior border, and it has a posterior border also, that is actually just opposite, that is mirror image of the anterior border. Okay, so this is the posterior border. This also starts from the just behind the radial tuberosity, but it also obliquely downward, then it comes posteriorly, then it going downwards, straight downwards towards the lower tubercle, this Lister's tubercle. Okay, so this is the posterior border. Posterior border, this one. Okay, so in the posterior border also, upper part it is obliquely placed. So this is the posterior border of the ulna, radius, and the posterior border is more prominent in the middle portion, this one. Okay, so this is the posterior border, obliquely backward, then going downward. Okay, so that is the posterior border, and there is a sharpest border. So keep it in anatomical position again. Here we can see there is a sharp border. So this is the medial border. Okay, so medial border also starts from, medial border is also otherwise known as introitious border. It starts from the lower end of the radial tuberosity, passes downward, vertically downward, and it is sharp, and inferiorly it going backward, forming the posterior border of the ulnar notch. Here we can see there is a notch for ulna. Okay, so head of the ulna fit into this notch. So this notch is known as ulnar notch. So towards the posterior border of the ulnar notch. So this is our medial border. So this is the sharpest border. So medial border. Okay, is otherwise known as interosseous border. Okay, so radius has three borders. So keep it in an anatomical position. So this is the anterior border. Here comes, this is the posterior border, and this is the medial border. Three borders. and it has three surfaces also. There is an anterior surface between the anterior border and the medial border. Okay. So between the anterior border and the medial border comes the anterior surface, and between the medial border and the posterior border comes the posterior surface. Okay. So anterior surface, posterior surface, and there is a lateral surface. So while keeping in the anatomical position, so it has a lateral surface. So three surfaces, and lateral surface between the anterior border and the posterior border. Between the anterior border, this is the anterior border. So between the anterior border and the posterior border, there is a surface that is known as lateral surface. Lateral surface. So three borders and three surfaces. Okay. Keep this in anatomical position. And this one, there is a medial border, medially, then anterior border and a posterior border. Okay, and three surfaces, anterior surface between the anterior border and the medial border, posterior surface between the medial border and the posterior border, and there is a lateral surface between the anterior border and the posterior border, lateral surface. Okay, so three surfaces and three borders. Okay, so anterior surface, posterior surface, and lateral surface. Borders, anterior border, medial border, posterior border. Okay, so three surfaces and three borders. Okay, then coming to the lower end. So lower end of the lower end. So lower end, you can see this is the lower end of the radius. Lower end has five surfaces. Okay. So we'll keep it in anatomical position. Here we can see there is an anterior surface, there is a posterior surface, there is a medial surface, there is a lateral surface, and there is an inferior surface. Okay. So five surfaces for the lower end. And the lower end anterior surface, this is the anterior surface. So we already mentioned anterior surface is thickened to form a prominent ridge. Okay, so it is thick and it is like a ridge. Okay, so our radial artery, we will palpate the pulse from the radial artery against this anterior surface. Okay, so this is the anterior surface. Then posterior surface, this is the posterior surface. Here we can see posterior surface has four grooves and three ridges. Okay. So here we can see one ridge, another, and third one. Okay. So here, so between these ridges we can see grooves. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 ridges can be seen in the posterior surface. Okay. And at the center, the one portion, here we can see there is a prominent tubercle that is known as dorsal tubercle or Lister's tubercle. This one, Lister's tubercle or dorsal tubercle. Okay. So 4 grooves can be seen. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 grooves. Okay, so in the posterior surface. Okay. Then comes the medial surface. So this is the medial surface. Here we can see medial surface is forming a notch. Okay, so it is notched. Okay, there will be a depression, and this notch will lodges the head of the ulna. This one. So this notch is known as ulnar notch. Okay, so this is the ulnar notch. So medial surface forms the ulnar notch. Okay, ulnar notch which lodges the head of the ulna. Okay, and lateral surface is prolonged downwards and forms the styloid process. So this is the styloid process. Okay, lateral surface prolonged downwards and forms the styloid process. Okay, then fifth surface, that is inferior surface. So in this is the inferior surface, and here we can see it is divided into two. Okay, so there is a laterally there is a triangular region, and medially there is a quadrangular region. Okay. This triangular part laterally it articulates with the scaphoid bone, and medial this quadrangular part articulates with the lunate bone to form the wrist joint. Okay. So scaphoid and lunate, scaphoid bone and lunate bone to form the wrist joint. Okay. So these are the 5 surfaces of the lower end. So anterior surface, posterior surface, medial surface, lateral surface, and inferior surface. Okay. So these are the features of the external features of the ulna, radius. So that's all about the external features. Then coming to the ossification or formation of the radius. So radius is formed from one primary center and two secondary center. Okay. So primary center for the shaft appears at the 8th week of intrauterine life, and the secondary center for the lower end, it appears at the first year. Okay. The secondary center for the lower end appears at the first year, and it fuses with the shaft at the 20th year. So this lower end is the growing end, so it fuses at the 20th year. Okay. And the secondary center for the upper end, for the head, appears at the 4th year, and it fuses with the shaft at the 18th year. Okay. So it fuses first and lower end fuses last. So lower end is the growing end of this bone. Okay. So till 20th year we can see this lower end will be seen as a separate piece. Okay. So this is the ossification. Okay. And coming to the applied aspect of this radius, usually the fracture occurs due to the outstretched hand. While we are keeping like this, so to the outstretched hand, so the fracture usually occurs in about 2 centimeter above the lower end, like here. Okay. So what will happen, usually this fracture occurs at the 2 centimeter above the lower end of the radius. So there are two possibilities. First possibility is this distal portion, this broken piece can move upward like this. Okay. And if it is moving like this up anteriorly, not anteriorly, posteriorly, it is moving posteriorly, forming a projection in the upper part, like this we can see. Okay. So this fracture like this condition is known as dinner fork deformity. Dinner fork. So our hand will be looking like a dinner fork. Okay. So here there will be a bulging. Okay. So this piece, lower end piece will come upward in the upper portion, and here it forms a bulging, and our hand looks like a dinner fork. Okay. So it is known as dinner fork deformity, and this fracture is known as Colles fracture. Colles fracture. Okay. And if this piece is going downward anterior, okay, here one bulging can be seen. In that condition we will call it as Smith's fracture. Smith's fracture. So two fractures, two conditions. One is going upward like this posteriorly, it formed a dinner fork deformity, and it is known as Colles fracture. It is going downward here like this forming a condition that is known as Smith's fracture. Okay. And sometimes, so that is the fracture of the lower end of the radius. Okay. And the upper portion, we know this head is seen inside our annular ligament, we already seen. Okay. So if we are pulling our babies like this from our hand, so if we are pulling like this, so what will happen, there are chances of dislocation of the head of the radius from the annular ligament. So it is going downward. It is going, usually it is keeping like this within the annular ligament. So if we are keeping our child on the hand, what will happen, if we are pulling our child, so what will happen, this will go down. Okay. And this condition is known as subluxation of the radius, head of the radius, or it is known as pulled elbow. Subluxation of the radius or pulled elbow. So that is the clinical anatomy: fracture, Colles fracture and Smith's fracture, and pulled elbow. Okay. So that's about the radius.